Hello, and thank you for being here today. I'm glad that you followed the norms of being here on time, being in your place. We all know that we need norms to keep things in order, and I appreciate the sense of urgency that you have being here for your cooperative learning experience today. Before we begin our experience, I would like you to, at your tables, you have a KWL chart, and I would like you to add your thoughts to the KWL chart. First, the K, what you know about cooperative learning, then the W, what you want to know about cooperative learning. Then you will share any prior experiences that you may have already had with cooperative learning. Be ready to share ideas. By the end of the workshop, it is important for us to know our goals and objectives. So by the end of the workshop, you will be able to infer the basic elements needed to make cooperative learning work in my classroom and plan at least 3 cooperative learning strategies to use in the classroom. Why do we use cooperative learning? What is it? What's the point? Right? Cooperative learning is cooperating with each other to learn. By promoting student learning and academic achievement, enhance student satisfaction with their learning experience, help students develop oral communication skills, develop social skills, and promote student self-esteem, and create student responsibility and ownership of learning. That's a key. There are 5 basic elements needed to make cooperative learning work. First, positive interdependence, social skills, individual accountability, group evaluation, and face-to-face interaction. The first one, positive interdependence. Well, what is interdependence? Interdependence is the dependency of 2 or more people or things depending on each other. Some ways to ensure positive interdependence in your classrooms are using 1 paper, 1 pencil, 1 book in the group. Another is a task divided into jobs. Can't finish unless each person has done their part. Or maybe jigsaw materials. Each person learns a part and then teaches it to the group. Now keep in mind, individual accountability. The second element is social skills. Everyone contributes and helps. Everyone listens to others with care. Praise helpful actions and good ideas. Ask for help if you need it. Remember that old rule to ask 3 before me? Well, that would work here for their social skills. And check to make sure that everyone understands and stay with your group. Now group, what do? They give encouragement, respect others, stay on task, use quiet voices, participate actively, and stay in our group. The third, which is key, individual accountability. You know, sometimes as teachers, educators, we question, how do we get them to have individual accountability? How do we get them to take ownership of what they are doing when they're supposed to be doing it? Well, here's a few ways of how to do that, how to ensure individual accountability. Students do the work first, then bring it to the group. Everyone writes, then certifies the correctness of all papers. All students have to hand in something. This is a must. All of them have to do something in order for it to count toward the task they're doing. Assign roles and jobs to each of your students. If each of them have a responsibility and they know what that responsibility is, then they'll be more apt to stay on task and share their learning. Students get bonus points if all group members do well individually. So there again, there's another positive reinforcement of staying on task. Now, what can you use? How do we get them to even get there, to do their individual jobs? What do we do, right? Well, what roles or group roles for individual accountability, you ask? I'm glad that you asked. Kagan provides many roles, but you can choose which roles work best for your students. Here are just a few of Kagan's cooperative learning roles: an encourager, praiser, cheerleader, a gatekeeper, coach, question commander, checker, focus keeper, recorder, reflector, quiet captain, or materials monitor. Now, you may not use Kagan at all. You might choose to use something else. That something else may be a learning monitor or facilitator or team member. Some of you are already using some of those in your classrooms, and they may be working well for you and they may not be. But one part of doing cooperative learning, in order for it to work successfully, is exactly how you started today. Is having those norms, having those expectations set before you begin your lesson of what you're doing in the classroom. So your class norms, and you're setting responsibilities so they know exactly what they're doing. In order for students to accomplish their task, each individual must communicate and work collectively. They must. Now, what does individual responsibility look like? Well, I am responsible for trying, because improvement counts, right? Asking. Ask for help from your teammates. Helping. Offer to help them. Courtesy. Make polite requests and show appreciation. Support. Give praises. Encouragers. And build-ups. Not put downs. Do not allow your students to put down each other or make fun of someone else, because that will be an automatic withdrawal of those students who maybe don't normally share. They won't want to share at all. So then, moving out of that individual responsibility, then the team has a responsibility. We are responsible for. So you're moving out of that I into that we. Solving. We try to solve our own problems. Team questions. We ask teammates before asking the teacher. That 3 before me. Helping. We help other teams, classmates, and the teacher. And then using that inner voice, we use a voice heard by teammates, not other teams. How many of you have been sitting in your classrooms and you have a group working together, and you have that one student who kind of leans over to the other group to hear what they're saying so that they can bring it back to the table, right? Well, that's not being team responsible. Maybe called using your resources, but it's not being responsible within your own team. So now we're moving on to the 4th element of what is needed to make cooperative learning work. Group evaluation. Now, a lot of times we're trying to figure out, what can we use? What can we do to help these kids self-assess? And how do we get them there, right? Okay, so some ways to process group interaction: the how do I do, or the how do we do self-assessment in small groups might be as simple as, what did your group do well today? What will your group do well tomorrow? Okay, as you were working together earlier, what did you do well today? What will you do well tomorrow? Your whole class, what skills did we do well in working together today? What skills could we do better tomorrow? Okay, simple as that. Giving them that self-reflection, giving them that self-assessment, it gets them thinking on how they did in their lessons today. The 5th one, the last one, is face-to-face interaction. Now, if you're going to be cooperative and you're learning, then you have to cooperate with others, so that brings you face-to-face. Now, you have a lot of kids who are independent learners. They don't want to be in a group. They don't want to participate. But again, going back to those roles, going back to the drawing them in with praises, the encouraging them, praising them. Here are just a few of the ideas that you could use from Kagan, and not just Kagan, but Schlavin and Schlunk and a few others have used these and promote these as great cooperative tools to use. The first one, think, pair, share. Think about the question, pair with a partner, and then share. Okay. The next one is quiz. So if I had, I was an A partner and they were a B partner, and we would pair up, and then I would ask the B partner a question, and then if they got it right, then it would be their turn to ask me a question. If I got it right, then we would trade our cards. Jigsaw, everybody is learning a piece of information, and they take that piece of information and they teach each other what they learned from that segment. That is really neat to see in action. The group investigation is where you give them group roles, and each person does their job, the role of that investigation. Now it's your turn. For the next 10 minutes, okay, for the next 10 minutes you will use think, pair, share at your tables with the scenario provided on the paper in the middle of your table. When you come back, how would you structure this? Think. How would you structure this in your classrooms? How could you use this? So I want you to talk with a partner for the next 5 minutes on how you could use think, pair, share so it would run smoothly in your classroom. You have think, pair, share, quiz, jigsaw, and investigation. I want you, for the next 40 minutes, I want you to choose 2 of these strategies. You'll get a break in between, but I want you to choose 2 of those strategies. If you don't remember what they are, it tells you on the cards that are in the middle of your table. But I want you to choose 2. You can plan with a partner. Think about your lessons that are coming up for this next week. I want you to see how can you implement those and implement those so they would work smoothly, okay? Now after the 40 minutes, in closing, individually complete the L on the KWL chart. What does the L mean? What did you learn? What did you learn in cooperative learning? What did you learn today? What is your takeaway? Be specific. Did you learn about a certain strategy? Did you learn the 5 elements of cooperative learning? Did you learn what cooperative learning was? I have all kinds of learners in this room today, whether you're a beginning teacher or you're a veteran teacher. And what did you learn today? You're going to share and discuss with a partner. So be ready to share your responses. Veteran teachers, you may wonder at times, why do we need to sit in this workshop? Why do we need to learn about cooperative learning when we have been through these workshops? We have done some of these things already in our classrooms. Well, because teachers taking reflective practices after walking in their shoes, experiencing what they experience in their group work, okay, it allows genuine critique of your teaching and learning practices. Thomas Farrell and George Jacobs give a great explanation. Teachers practicing what we preach. In the article, Practicing What We Preach, Teacher Reflection Groups on Cooperative Learning. I encourage you to read that article and see the importance of practicing what we preach. It is important for us as educators to continue learning, not be stale in our teaching, okay? But keep our teaching alive, because if our teaching is stale, if we just get up and lecture, then we lose them. They don't want to hear us just standing up and talking. Okay, they want to talk. They want to be interactive, right? How many of you have talkers in your classroom that just won't stop talking? Right? Yeah. Okay, give them a job. That they're using their voices for something that is a task that you've given them. Let them use their strengths And believe it or not, those talkers, that's a strength. Okay, so use that for them. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being here in your places, for your active participation. If you still have questions and concerns, then I encourage you to write on the post-it that is on your table, and then to put it in the parking lot that is over on the wall. Thank you for being here.